Hey guys, this is Jim, K4YCD, and you're watching FEP Labs Radio. Thanks for stopping by. We've got the spectrum analyzer out today, and we are going to take a look at the Abri. This is the 42-inch, as you can see, Tacti-cool folding antenna. I suspect this has a model number on it, and this is, well, that's it. That's all the model number you get. And so this is the 42-inch. This is the 42-inch folding model. And what I'm going to do is we're going to hook it up to the spectrum analyzer, to the SWR bridge, and see how good of an antenna this thing is. This antenna comes like so, and it's folded up and has a little Velcro around it. And then you can, the idea with this is, you can unfurl this to its 42-inch length, or if you are like an air softer type guy, or just, you know, tactically, you can take this thing and fasten it to your HT on a shoulder pack, and then have some amount of this antenna open up behind you, kind of deal. And looking at it, it's not a super expensive antenna, but it feels like a tape measure inside. So we're gonna take a look at this and see what it looks like on the spectrum analyzer. We may take this apart in another video. There's some magic in here. This looks like just a couple of rivets or something to hold this to the actual end connector here. To get into this, I suspect. Ooh. Okay. So that's kind of cool. That just unscrews, and then this guy goes on there like that. So what I suspect is that there's some sort of coil or something in here. I'm not entirely sure. And like I said, that's probably another video to take that apart. So without any further ado, let me pause camera and let me hook this thing up to the spectrum analyzer, and let's see what it looks like. Okay guys, so what I've got done here is we are now connected to the VSWR bridge, and there's a little setup you have to do before we actually can use this, and I've done that off camera, but the short version is we go into measurement, and then we have to do an open calibration, and that's without our antenna on, but our adapters and whatever we have connecting the VSWR bridge to the spectrum analyzer. So we do that open calibration, just the same way you would do this on a Tiny SA or a Nano VNA. Now this only requires an open calibration. And then once that calibration is done, I hook up our device under test, which is slightly off camera right down here. You can't see it in frame. And then I tell the spectrum analyzer to do VSWR. So that's what we're looking at right now. I'm going to see if I can zoom this camera in a little tighter, where maybe you can see that screen a little better. If I get it too tight, you won't have enough of the screen to see. I guess we'll just go with that. So what we have here on the screen is we have our reference line, which is this purple trace. We have the green line right here, which is our return loss on the antenna. And then we have the yellow trace, which is our SWR, and where it dips in this particular band that we're looking at. So we're looking right now, I don't want to move that. Our marker shows the highest return loss at 147.5, and that gives us an SWR of 1.3 down here. And these same numbers are here across the table in the bottom. So these two things are mutually exclusive. All right. So at the 2 meter band, it's a little high on the antenna. The other thing we can do is we can jump in on this and change the resolution bandwidth to a little tighter and take a look at it and how that changes as we move in the resolution bandwidth. And it doesn't really move a whole lot on this particular measurement. So now we have 10 kilohertz of resolution bandwidth. We're zoomed way in, and it's staying the same. So the default here is 1 meg, and I've moved it back out to 1 meg. So that's where we look on 2 meters. So now let's jump our frequencies up to start at 430 megahertz, and we're going to stop at 480 megahertz. So you can see this antenna is a lot flatter in the 70 centimeter band. Up here around 420, we're showing an SWR of 2.7 to 2.8, and that's not changing a whole lot across the band. There it's down to 2.3. We're looking for that dip on the yellow, and it's not nearly as marked on the 70 centimeter band as it is on the 2 meter band, but it's the same kind of thing. And then we could go up and look at the let's look at the 220 band, although I don't think it's going to show us much more either. So let's go to frequency, let's go to start, let's go to 200 megahertz, and let's stop at 300 megahertz. And let's get our marker. And let's bring our marker over all the way over there on the left side of the screen, because I didn't center this up very well. Let me do that. Frequency, center, 220 megahertz. There we go. So, and back to marker. So there's the 220 performance on this guy. Similar to 440, it's a SWR of around 2 and a return loss of 8 dB return loss, giving us a reflection coefficient of 0.38 to 40, something like that. We can move the marker a little bit, but it's still pretty much hovering around a SWR of 2 on the 220 megahertz band. So now let me jump up to 1.2 real quick, and let's take a look at that. 1.2 gigahertz, and you can see that looks pretty flat. It has an excellent SWR up here at 1.2 of 1. Guys, here's a little context. I've put the Nagoya antenna on here. This is the what is this thing? Or actually Diamond, excuse me. This is the Diamond SRH77CA. So what I wanted to do was just show a quick comparison of a standard rubber duck style antenna, and I'll do this fairly quickly because I don't want this to be a super long video, but let's zoom in on our screen there where we can see all the juicy bits. And you'll see here we're at the best part on 2 meters here, and we've got 2.2 SWR. So when you compare this Diamond antenna to that 42-inch, admittedly very silly looking Abri antenna, the Abri does not perform bad at all. But that's it. So that's not bad. You can mock this Tacti-cool antenna, but it seems to have decent performance. I think we'll do a video probably next week. I'll try and disassemble this coil and see if we can get in there and see what's going on with it. But I like this. Whether you think it's cool to wear it like that or not, I have no idea. I'm of the opinion that more antenna is always better antenna. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. Anyway, that's what it looks like on the spectrum analyzer for this guy. Guys, that's all I've got for today. If you would, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Give me a thumbs up, and make sure you ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post any scintillating new content like this. Guys, y'all have a great day. 73.